Eat Real America, and I want to take you on a virtual grocery store tour of the yogurt section today. Because I want to share with you, we have learned several things about the options in the yogurt section, because let's be honest, it can still be very confusing and overwhelming in there. So let's go. Okay, so to make yogurt, all you need are 3 ingredients. You need milk and you need 2 types of beneficial bacteria. And these are bacteria that probably none of us can pronounce, but they're actually the good bacteria that keeps your gut healthy. And so, but that's all it takes for yogurt. And yogurt, as a general rule, is really good for us. But you've got an entire section of yogurts that will tell you that they're really good for you. And they're not all created equal. So I used to think that there were only 2 kinds of yogurts. There's your traditional yogurt and then there was Greek yogurt. And that is not the case. There are more than 2 options. So there is traditional basic yogurt. But then what is Greek yogurt? So Greek yogurt is actually strained yogurt. So they strain it to take the whey or the liquid out, which reduces the carbs and the sugar, but it actually keeps all that protein intact. And that's why Greek yogurt is typically higher in protein than other yogurts. So the other one I want to tell you about is this one is Icelandic yogurt. It's also called skyr. And so this is the traditional yogurt of Iceland. And so skyr or Icelandic yogurt is actually strained even more than Greek yogurt. So you know how that Greek yogurt has kind of that tart tanginess to it? Well, so Icelandic yogurt, it's not quite as tart and tangy because it's been strained even more. So in Greek yogurt, they take 3 cups of milk and that turns into 1 cup of yogurt. With Icelandic yogurt, they take 4 cups of milk and turn it into 1 cup of yogurt. So it actually has a little bit more protein, but it also is a little creamier and less tart than Greek yogurt. So if you're one of those people that's not crazy about Greek yogurt because of that taste, you might try Icelandic yogurt and see what you think. So the other option is Australian yogurt. So Australian yogurt, here is one of the brands. This yogurt is not strained, so it's unstrained, but it's typically made with whole milk. There are some brands that make it with non-fat milk, but it is going to be a little less thick, but it's going to be a little bit more creamy. And so that's another option. Now, this right here is called kefir. This is just a liquid drinkable yogurt. So that is one thing to know. Okay, so when they start adding flavor to yogurt is where it starts to get a little bit concerning, because even when they're just simply adding vanilla, they're also adding sugar. And definitely when they're adding fruit, they're adding sugar. So one thing to look at, now I know I sound like a broken record when I tell you I want you to read the ingredient label. One thing to note is when you're looking at the ingredient label, so one of the things you can look at, because this will affect how much added sugar, is like in this example, the peaches come before the sugar in the ingredient list. So it's got a little bit less added sugar than others. But when you come down here, you've got options like this where the sugar comes before the strawberries in the ingredient list, and it's got even more added sugar. So another thing to keep in mind when you're looking at the ingredient label, so this option, it's purple because they've added red and blue artificial colorings. So those don't need to be there. Now, another thing that I have to show you, because this one killed me, was so this. So when you read the ingredient label of this, not to throw this one under the bus, but it says it's strawberry. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no strawberries in the ingredient label. So there is something called vegetable juice coloring, but there's no strawberries in there. Are you kidding? So now, another thing that you should know, now it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out when you start adding candies and cookies and things that are called moose tracks to your yogurt. That just means there's added ingredients and even more sugar. So definitely something to keep in mind. Now, I also want to show you, this is the section where there's dairy-free options. So they're either made with soy milk or almond milk, but one of the things that you should keep in mind is they're going to be a thinner texture. So typically in the ingredients, you're going to see things like pectin, which are thickeners, and they've added those so just to thicken up the consistency of it. And really read the ingredient labels, because some of these have a little bit added sugar for taste as well. So there are some things that I want you to keep in mind overall. Is number one is always going to be look at the ingredient label. That's the only way you're going to know what you're getting. And it's always going to be better to buy plain and add your own fruit, nuts, sweetener like honey and pure maple syrup. You can even add raisins or dates. And now I know some of you are making a face when I say just buy the plain and add your own stuff. And we totally get that. And so if you want to buy the versions that have the added sugar in them, just make sure you're reading the ingredient label. Because remember, it's recommended 6 to 9 teaspoons of added sugar every day, and 4 grams of sugar is 1 teaspoon. So that it just can add up super quickly. So that's why I want you to pay attention to it. But the other thing that you can do is, one thing we love to do is we love buying reduced. If you look for reduced labels and clearance labels, that just means they're approaching the best buy date. And so it is safe to eat those 1 to 2 weeks after the best buy date. There's lots of information out there that says those are safe to eat. We love to do that to save a little bit of money. I know that freaks some people out. Like here's an example. If you check out the reduced label and the best buy date. We love to do that. But the other thing that's going to help you save money is always going to be if you buy the bigger one and divide it up yourself versus buying the smaller, you're just going to save a little bit more money that way. And so I encourage you to try different options, because there's so many flavors and textures. So try different ones and find out what your personal preference is. You might surprise yourself in what you like, but definitely read those ingredient labels. And I hope this helps. And please let us know what you think and what's your favorite.